Everyone sees the massive numbers. When you look at contract boards and see CRNA positions offering $250 an hour, it feels like you have won the lottery. Grossing $450,000 a year sounds incredible until you realize that you get to keep significantly less of that money than you think. This is the dark side of 1099, independent contracting. Hospitals and locum agencies love 1099 providers because it shifts all the financial liability directly onto your shoulders. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact math and the hidden costs of independent practice. We will cover the self-employment tax penalty, how to structure your business to avoid it, the reality of buying your own health insurance, and the devastating malpractice mistake that can easily cost you $30,000 out of pocket. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to protect your money. But first, you have to understand the literal tax trap the government sets for independent contractors. The double tax trap. When you work a standard W-2 hospital job as a nurse anesthetist, you are an employee, your hospital pays half of your Medicare and Social Security taxes, and you pay the other half out of your paycheck. When you transition to 1099, you are no longer an employee, you are a business, and the IRS requires the business to pay both halves of that tax. This is called the self-employment tax, and it instantly shaves over 15% off your gross income right out of the gate, before you even pay your standard federal and state income brackets. If you bill $350,000 your first year and do not structure your business correctly, the IRS will absolutely crush you come tax season. Many new independent contractors end up owing the government $50,000 to $80,000 because they spent their gross income like it was net income. But there is a perfectly legal, structural way to bypass the worst of this penalty, which I will break down for you in the next section. The S-Corp Shield. To fix the self-employment tax trap, you cannot just operate as a sole proprietor under your own name. As an independent nurse, anesthetist, you need to form an LLC, and then you need to file a specific tax form to have that LLC taxed as an S-Corp. When you operate as an S-Corp, you stop paying yourself all of your revenue as pure contractor income. Instead, you put yourself on a W-2 payroll through your own company. You pay yourself a reasonable salary, let's say $150,000, and you pay the self-employment taxes only on that specific salary amount. The remaining $200,000 of your revenue is taken as an owner's distribution, which completely bypasses the 15% self-employment tax. This one structural move can save you tens of thousands of dollars every single year, but saving on taxes is only half the battle. You still have to protect yourself from the legal liabilities of the operating room, and that is where the malpractice minefield comes into play. But more on that devastating cost later. I want to pause here for a second. If you are realizing right now that nursing school taught you absolutely nothing about how to actually manage your money or build wealth, you need to hit the subscribe button. Hospitals rely on your financial ignorance to keep you trapped in low-paying W-2 jobs. Subscribe right now to join a community of data-driven professionals taking control of their careers. The health insurance myth. Now, let's talk about the biggest excuse people use to avoid 1099 work: health insurance. Hospitals have convinced you that buying your own health insurance on the open market is a nightmare. It is not. Yes, you have to pay for it out of pocket, and a premium family plan might cost you $1,500 a month. But remember, you are making an extra $150,000 a year as an independent nurse anesthetist. Paying $18,000 a year for premium health insurance is a mathematical drop in the bucket compared to the massive revenue you are generating. Do not let a completely manageable business expense keep you chained to a hospital payroll. The malpractice minefield. Now we reach the true dark side of independent practice: malpractice insurance. When you are a W-2 employee, the hospital's blanket policy covers you. When you are a 1099 nurse anesthetist, you are entirely on your own. There are two types of malpractice insurance: occurrence and claims made. An occurrence policy is the gold standard. It covers you for any incident that occurs while the policy is active, regardless of when the patient actually files the lawsuit. If you work a case in 2026, cancel the policy in 2027, and the patient sues you in 2028, you are fully covered because it offers total protection. Occurrence policies are incredibly expensive. So, many independent contractors try to save money by purchasing a claims-made policy instead. This is where the trap snaps shut. The devastating tail bill. A claims-made policy is much cheaper upfront, but there is a catch. It only covers you if the incident happens, and the claim is filed while the policy is actively in force. Let's say you work at a rural hospital for 2 years under a claims-made policy as a 1099 nurse anesthetist. You decide to take a new contract across the country, so you cancel your policy. 6 months later, a patient from your old hospital sues you. Because you canceled the claims-made policy, you have absolutely zero coverage. You are personally liable for the lawsuit. To prevent this, when you cancel a claims-made policy, you are legally required to buy something called tail coverage. Tail coverage protects you indefinitely for the cases you worked in the past, but tail coverage is aggressively expensive. It can easily cost 2 to 3 times your annual premium. I have seen independent contractors try to leave a job, only to be hit with a $35,000 tail coverage bill that they have to pay entirely out of pocket in one lump sum. If you do not negotiate for the facility to pay your tail coverage in your initial contract, you are setting yourself up for a financial nightmare. The credentialing bottleneck. Beyond taxes and malpractice, the actual logistics of being an independent nurse anesthetist can be exhausting. When you take a new 1099 contract, you do not just show up and start pushing propofol. You have to go through facility credentialing. This means submitting decades of background checks, procedure logs, immunization records, and peer references to the hospital board. This process can take anywhere from 60 to 120 days. During those 3 to 4 months, you cannot work at that facility. You generate zero revenue. If you do not have a robust emergency fund or a pipeline of overlapping contracts, the credentialing bottleneck will starve you out of your own business. The psychology of unpaid time off. The final hidden cost of 1099 practice is purely psychological. As a W-2 employee, you get paid time off. You go to the beach for a week and a paycheck still hits your bank account. As an independent nurse anesthetist, paid time off does not exist. If your hands are not actively managing an airway, you are not making money. When your hourly rate is $250, the math of taking a vacation completely changes. Taking a single week off does not just cost you the price of the flights and the hotel, it costs you $10,000 in lost revenue. Many independent contractors fall into the trap of overworking. They burn themselves out because the opportunity cost of resting feels too expensive. To survive as a 1099, you have to aggressively budget for your own downtime. The final verdict and next steps. Being a 1099 independent contractor is the absolute fastest way to build massive generational wealth in this profession. But it is not just a clinical job, it is a business. You have to act like a chief financial officer. You need a CPA to manage your S-Corp payroll. You need to scrutinize your malpractice tail coverage before signing anything. And you need the psychological discipline to walk away from the operating room and take a vacation. If you want to dive deeper into the exact mathematical breakdown of how these taxes eat into your income, you need to watch my video on the screen right now. In that video, I show you the literal spreadsheet of why a $300,000 salary looks very different after the IRS gets involved. Click that video right now, and I will see you over there.